what's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. How much you want to make a bet? I can throw a football over the mountains over there. Whew, man, we got a bunch of quarterback talk today. Off-season quarterback talk. I don't know if it's a lot of controversy. Couple names that are going to be controversial as we go through the top 10 quarterback rankings as ranked by the NFL execs and other people. We've got some Conor McGregor. We got Major League Baseball. And I got my guy, Evo, in. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good now that I'm unmuted. I love how StreamYard just decides to randomly mute when we do our intro. That'll never cause a problem. I'm doing good, man. Tired. Just got off of work because on that monsoon schedule, as we discussed last time with our guy, Dave. But I'm happy to be here, happy to be talking sports. And I'm super excited that we are only just a couple weeks away from training camp starting. So that way we can get in some real juicy stuff with football. But the lead up is still fun. Have a bunch of fun sporting events and stuff that have happened over the past week, and excited to get into all of that.
Well, some of them are fun. Some of them are not fun. Home run derby, good time. Conor McGregor fight, shitty.
Are you telling me that wasn't the most entertaining 3 seconds ever?
Okay, so you know what? Instead of just kind of trying to ease our way into it, let's just fucking dive head first.
You mean run and kick immediately into it?
Yeah, let's run and kick immediately into this episode and start talking about Conor McGregor. So the card in and of itself, not bad. The choke that Patty the Batty had homeboy in was just disgusting. Like I very vividly remember being caught in like a box choke when I was going through combatives level 2 and going the wrong way, and it sucks trying to escape. So that was awful to watch. It was great for Patty, but that was huge buildup. Comes off a win from Patty the Batty. Now Conor's going to come out there and just put on a show, and tries to in the first 3 seconds. Blew his nut in the first 3 seconds because that's all we really had. Now, we see him run, jump, kick. We see the knee give out in the replays afterward. Is that when it happened? A lot of, I don't know, conspiracy theories, I guess, pertaining around Conor McGregor and what happened with this fight. Where are you landing on what happened? Did he go out there out of shape, just decided to be old, fat piece of shit Conor McGregor and just kind of fake it? Or did he actually go out there and tear that knee in the midst of trying to throw that kick? Did it happen before? Or did it happen in the moment?
I am not a huge conspiracy theorist. I do think that fighting has a long history of being associated with the mob and fights being fixed. And man, it feels like this offseason we've talked a lot about fucking gambling, which a sidebar to that, I was going to put money on Patty. The boys never watched UFC, and they're sitting there and actually paying attention to Patty, and we're doing with the walkout and everything.
Nice.
And I look at the card and I'm like, oh, he's an underdog. And then I'm like, oh, I pulled all the money out of my sports book. I should put money in. And I was scrambling because they were like, put money on Patty the Batty, put him on Patty, but didn't get it in time.
Too late.
Didn't get it in time. Real unfortunate. That being said, I like a good conspiracy theory, but more often than not, I just assume shit's probably just a fun story, but not really a conspiracy. This one has me a little bit more questioning it because, and I have this pulled up, a guy that you and I both know sent me the Google Gemini AI result from his Google search the day of the fight prior to the fight happening. It was at around 5 p.m. here in Arizona that he Googled this. He says, as he tells the story, and I'll leave his name off just in case the feds try to assassinate him in the mafia here, but
here we go.
He says to himself, I feel like Holloway and McGregor have fought before, which he was correct. So he looked it up, and it does say, yes, this is the result of the fight. And he goes, have they fought a second time? And so it pulls up literally this exact thing that I have on my computer now. It says UFC 329, McGregor versus Holloway 2, took place on July 11th, 2026 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas during International Fight Week. The main event ended in a shocking and abrupt TKO as Conor McGregor severely injured his right knee. Again, this was before the fights even started. I think the prelims might have started happening. He took a picture on his phone and sent it and said, I'm confused. Did the fights already happen? And I said, no, we're watching them live. How the fuck did Google AI, Gemini, or whatever it is, already know that there was a shocking and abrupt TKO with a severely injured right leg?
Well, I guess there's the off chance that we live in the Matrix and all this shit's already had, that we're in a simulation. Or, and this is the one that might be even more controversial, the fight was fixed and Conor knew that he was fucked walking into this cage.
I don't know. Like, it is very weird to me that could go out. I think for the most part, conspiracies aren't true because humans like to talk. I mean, shit, we like to talk. We're on here fucking talking. We're two dummy, thick idiots talking about sports. But humans like to talk about inside knowledge on things. You just can't keep your mouth shut. And you have an arena full of people who, if this was somehow pre-recorded, you know they're going to be out there talking about it. The only other way that this could have happened was if it was prefixed, the UFC knew it was going to happen, if the gambling markets knew it was going to happen, and somehow it was leaked there on AI. But again, the circle would have to be so small for people not to know. Obviously, Holloway, you could see him calling out in the fight, pointing to the fact that McGregor was injured. I thought it was relatively obvious that he was injured, but Holloway seemed absolute that, hey, he's hurt, call the fight. And maybe, professional fighter would know better, but I don't know, man. It was a little weird for that information to be out there that early.
What do you make of him getting ready and kind of taking that weird misstep? And does that kind of lead you to believe that maybe that there was something going on? Because that's kind of what did it for me. I thought Conor went out there and blew his fucking wad originally and just tried to do a skill that his body was not prepared for.
An original Conor McGregor style move where you just start off explosive.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it felt to me in the moment. And then you have all the other ancillary things that people are saying, hey, this is bullshit, where they're going back and reviewing him in the locker room or him, getting ready, taking off the shorts and putting the shoes on, or the weigh-ins even, and things like that. Like, the more that we look at that, the more that you want to see something, the more you will see it.
Yeah, the more you look for it, the more you'll find it. For
sure. So it's definitely possible, I would say, that something happened leading up to the fight where they knew that this was already an issue and how it was going to go. We know, though, that McGregor is not a great actor if you've seen Roadhouse.
Terrible. Fucking awful movie.
So
they ruined that fucking movie.
All right, sidebar here. I don't mind the newest movie. I don't mind it. I also went into it knowing what the original Roadhouse was and what this was going to be.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting, an Oscar-nominated performance or anything like that. It wasn't great, but it's also shit TV produced by Amazon. So, I was okay with it. Aside from that, McGregor was embarrassingly bad in that movie, and he put on a better acting job if he was actually acting in this fight. But you could also, again, if you're thinking that, hey, maybe this isn't all kosher, you could kind of see where maybe it is some shitty acting too.
Yeah. I would like to believe that this was just him doing something that his body was no longer capable of. And if that is the case, then he should just retire. However, we heard as he's walking out of the arena, talking to nobody, Max Holloway is like, well, fuck that. We got to run that shit back again because that's a big ass payday for Max. Doesn't matter if he fights him or not. Max just made a shitload of money just off of completing a training camp because he got in the ring with Conor McGregor. So, of course, Max wants another one. I mean, I assume that he wants to fight him and actually beat him after he was beaten by McGregor earlier in their career. I think he was going to win this fight, honestly.
Yeah.
But
it does look like McGregor's cooked. You look at the difference in his body type. I mean, McGregor is old. Fighters don't last that long as far as professional sports go.
You got to be a freak if you're going to be a UFC fighter, like into your late 30s and 40s. Like Randy Couture's are not the standard. Those are the fucking exceptions.
Mm-hmm. And the physical toll on his body, not just from the injuries, the age, or being a fighter, but going on and off of the steroids that he very, very much so is on.
Yeah.
Like, you look at him through his career and his body change, that's also not easy on the human body.
The ligaments.
He needs to just probably ride off into the sunset. He can continue his acting career because people will fucking use him for the same reason that Holloway wants to fight him. There's a lot of money in McGregor, even if he's not good at any of this stuff anymore. He is extremely good at promoting.
Yeah, I mean, he put his face on something, people are going to fucking buy it. He has a cult-like following. And, I mean, that's good for businesses. Now, if you want to disassociate with a guy like Conor McGregor, I could absolutely understand that, considering all the things that he has been accused of and has done in his life. But whether you like him, dislike him, or not, the motherfucker still brings in money. And it's really hard for people to turn down money these days, especially if you're a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, hey, we got our guy Dubs popping in here. Thank you, Dubs. He says the home run derby fucked. Now, I did not get to watch the home run derby in its entirety. I had to go back and watch rounds and find clips and all of that because I was coaching a youth baseball game last night, the exact same time, 8 p.m. start. Playing in the championship game, we lost. It sucks. We were up at 1.3-0. And then a couple of critical errors, man. Errors will get you every time. And then we just couldn't battle back.
Yeah.
I was very excited to come home and be like, all right, I'm going to check out. I was expecting Junior Caminero to fucking just go ham. Now, he did. He hit a fucking absolute nuke last night at 491. But I thought that he was going to potentially win this thing. He got screwed the year before. I thought if it's not Junior, I mean, it's got to be one of the guys from Philly then, right? Schwarber or Harper. They would make total sense. The entire environment just is set up for one of those guys to succeed. And then, lo and behold, out of nowhere, like I think he had probably the longest odds. Oh, let me get this up here. The longest odds, and was it Jordan? Is his first name?
Yep, Jordan Walker from the Cardinals.
Jordan Walker. Yeah, I don't even really know this guy that much. Jordan Walker goes ham. Wins it on the last swing in a dramatic fashion, beating the hometown hero. Like, the storyline is cool. And when I was on with our good buddy Tank of the Sportsocracy over in Greenville, we were talking about like the format and how this was all going to work. Is this going to be the right thing? Is this going to be exciting? I like the idea that it's just about the swings. If it's you get a certain number of swings. Been on the verge for years. On the verge, and being a Cardinal does not mean a big name, though. Appreciate you hopping in here, Dino. Love you, big guy. But like to see this guy come out and win, it's not an environment that I thought that a no name would go out and win. But then we get our David versus Goliath. That's really cool. And in the format that is kind of up and down. I like the idea of the old school. You just kind of take the swings. I remember, and I was talking about this yesterday, that Josh Hamilton year of him in the home run derby, Yankee Stadium, and there's no time limit, and he is just hitting piss missile after piss missile after piss missile into the, right field seats, trying to hit it out at Yankee Stadium. And he's able to do that for like 20 minutes because there was no timer. That was really cool. That's a really fun experience for everybody in the stands. And then the story of Josh Hamilton really sells that and makes it way cooler, right? Then we get into this era where it's time. Everything's quicker. You are battling the clock. It's not bad, but it does take away some of the spectacle of watching these absolute nukes that get hit. So, for me, this format wasn't terrible in the fact that, time limit was gay. Listen, I get it. You want to see dudes hit nukes, and there you go. Hey, Dean, I believe Dean coaches baseball in college, so he's going to know a lot more than I do.
Oh, for sure.
But the time thing is fun if you get a guy that goes on a streak to end it. Outside of that, you really kind of lose some of the fun aspects of watching guys hit absolute nukes. I mean, you can go back all the way to Griffey when he hit the warehouse at Camden Yards, an absurd fucking distance to hit a baseball. You don't even get to see that thing with the clock. So where are you at on the format? I don't like the bracket. Tank brought this up yesterday. The bracket is dumb. There should just be the best guys get to move on. You shouldn't have to be placed against one other dude. And then in the finals, it's obviously head to head. But where are you at on this?
Dude, I think the low-hanging fruit is what we say every time. Like, they can keep trying to rewrite the book. Get these guys juicing, damn it. Like, broken record here. Get them juicing. I don't really have a huge dog in the hunt because I don't know that, like, we have a good system figured out. Bracket or not, time limit or not. It's, obviously, again, you don't want the Josh Hamilton thing where it's not necessarily timed and you just can take forever. By the way, shout out Josh Hamilton, fucking drug addict, and then also child endangerment and stuff like that after his career. Fuck him. Listen,
when he was in that moment, it was really cool. Drug addict before, not clean, cool moment.
Yeah, for sure. We're not endorsing that or anything. We're endorsing the sports player and the moment in time. Everything afterwards, kind of dog shit. But
kind of before and afterward, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people have lives. What was cool to me is that there are, and I think this kind of helped propel the underdog story a little bit, is that the stories a lot of times do make the Derby. Obviously, we had, Griffey being one of the greatest, but you had Bonds and Sosa and McGuire. That kind of era where everything was super intense with not only just being the home run king, but also the home run derby with those guys. Again, juicing. But it's the stories that make that derby really, really exciting to me. And this one, like you kind of brought up, is a cool story there with Jordan Walker. Obviously, Dino brought up here was a number one prospect. But he's not being paid like a number one prospect right now. What's being floated around is that his 2026 salary is $799,000.
Yeah.
And last night, because of the way that, winning the home run derby or having the longest home run earns you extra modifiers and money, he earned $1 million last night for winning that derby, more than his salary this year. Being the underdog, the longest odds, going in there and kind of wrecking thing for the Phillies, that's the story that you like to hear. And look, I will be completely honest, did not watch it, was doing dad activities, sleeping and giving it to the old lady. That was my home run derby last night. But, I don't know that the system itself is in a good spot or a bad spot, that it does have to lean a little bit more into the stories to make it as enjoyable as it could be. Because that's the thing is we've tried so many different mutations of what the All-Star game looks like. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to how much buildup is there. And we don't want baseball to become the WWE. We don't want a whole bunch of like fake publicized stuff. We want it to be real and genuine. That's what really draws us in with sports and our love for individual players and things like that. And why we start to root for guys is because of their backstory and the stories for those competitions. And that has to kind of happen. It has to happen organically.
Have a version of that with Banana Ball. Banana Ball is that weird, crazy, off the wall, like your Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. We don't need to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be organic. It's got to be real. And as long as those situations continue to happen, that'll be what makes it entertaining.
I agree that the storylines are kind of what make the entire thing. Now, I don't know if this, I have not been able to confirm this. If that's true, that's fucking awesome. Getting autographed baseballs out into the seats. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I would be pumped to catch one of those. I mean, obviously catching any home run derby ball or any ball at a game would be incredible, but you catch one and that bitch is already signed.
Yeah, very cool, very memorable.
Hell yeah. Now we brought up the $1 million thing. Why doesn't any of these other leagues pay their players to come and participate in these events so we can actually get some participation from the superstars of the leagues? Now, I understand the NFL, they got to work around the Super Bowl because the Pro Bowl is now before the Super Bowl. But why the fuck is this not like a standard practice? And maybe it is. Or is Max McClung going out there and winning $1 million every time he wins a slam dunk contest as a G leader?
I mean, they do pay. It's measly in comparison.
Well, but exactly. I think that's why they're having a G leaguer come and win the damn competition. Nobody else gives a shit.
Yeah, like just pulling up the NFL here through the CBA, players on the winning Pro Bowl team get $96,000 per player, and the losing team gets $48,000. Plus, I'm sure that it's all expenses paid to go to a different location to participate in all the different games and stuff like that, and it's fun. But that's, I think, especially when it comes to NFL, we're talking about another different situation where it is, a physically taxing sport to the point that, one play takes you out for your career. We can't be putting players in that situation where they're already kind of redlined for, 17, 18 weeks or more. So it's a different situation that they're trying to navigate and figure out now. But yeah, like they do probably need to put more on the line, more stakes out there in order to make these all-star games a little bit more interesting. Obviously, we've seen that with other leagues as far as like getting home field advantages and things like that. But it's the all-star games, I feel like, are fading away altogether throughout kind of all the sports. The only place that it really matters anymore is kind of like in youth sports, because it is a culminating event for youth sports where your best players get to go and be recognized, which is really cool. But that's the thing with the youth sports is they don't have careers on the line at that point. And we're talking about professionals who need to milk out every last inkling of what they can do in the actual game. Not something, look at it again, like I wouldn't shake a stick at $96,000 from the NFL playing in a fucking game. But also, that's nothing compared to what these players, and again, Pro Bowl players are guys who are probably making a lot of money already. That's way less than what they get for one game of a regular, NFL game, let alone the weekly that they get on big contracts. So it's just kind of not worth it other than to go and have fun, and that's about it.
I agree. We had Dubs in here. There's just I am pissed that they traded Cam and Arrow. I am 100% pissed that we traded Cam and Arrow. I will never not be pissed about that. But we had Dubs in here as well. They should never change the old format to go to the time bullshit. Can't see the home runs. That's what we were talking about. Format last night was A1. I thought the broadcast lacked a bit. I think that's probably a lot to do with Netflix. Give me a little Chris Berman. Back. I could listen to that all day, every day. I think that they're gonna find a way to make it entertaining. But of all of the All-Star Weekend events for all of the major sports, even if they continue to tweak the Home Run Derby, it is still far and away the most entertaining spectacle that happens during any All-Star break. I mean, you're going to take the dunk contest with nobody you know in it, the 3-point shooting contest, dodgeball for the NFL players, flag football, come the fuck on. Like, the only one where they actually play the game the same way that they normally play is Major League Baseball in their All-Star game. And then the Home Run Derby is that slight variation where you just get to have fun, and that's why it's the fucking best.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you there. And that might be the only thing that sport gets to say that they're kind of the best at right now, because all the other premier sports just kind of tend to do it better all around.
Well, that's because they have a fucking rube as their commissioner in Rob Manfred.
Why is it that all these leagues commissioners suck fat cock?
Well, I don't think Roger Goodell sucks fat cock. I think we all just hate him because he enforces rules.
We don't need to get down this tangent. He enforces crazy arbitrary rules that don't have a good checks and balances, which is why Brian Flores is suing the league, because their arbitrary process is obviously flawed towards one thing, and that's just stealing money from the players. I fucking like that's why. Like, look, it is symptomatic. The NFL definitely is. It was the no fun league,
but they came back. They're letting more fun back into the game. They're celebrations. Maybe you've gone a little too far. I don't necessarily agree with Roger all of the time, but what he has not done is sucked the fun out of his league and made it miserable. Or a topic of conversation where everybody is like, oh, there's something wrong. But when we talk about the NBA, there are motherfuckers throwing games, affecting lines. Major League Baseball, how many umpires have we just torn apart because they couldn't get it fucking right? Thank God they instituted ABS. Like, that's why I would give a little bit of credit to Roger Goodell. And
yeah,
Dean's right. The NFL does not need the Pro Bowl. It's completely unimportant. You could literally, those old school, like, quarterback competitions, who can throw it the farthest, dodging through the obstacle courses, bring that shit back. Fuck everything else in terms of the games that they're doing at the Pro Bowl.
I think they should all take all the guys who are Pro Bowlers and have them do community work in Africa or something like that. That'd be fun.
I mean, that'd be a good way to give back to the community and protect the shield.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, got a little home run derby action in there. We talked Conor McGregor. Now it's time to switch over to our bread and butter. We're going to talk NFL. Probably going to finish out the show on the NFL. But the first position group we're going to talk about is quarterbacks. If you are unaware that there have been position rankings come out, they do this every year. They go out, they interview NFL execs, coaches, scouts, GMs, all of that to find out, hey, who do you guys think? Instead of it just us, your pissant podcast guy, because listen, I can tell you exactly who I think number one is. I don't disagree with what their list is per se, but I got some fucking bones to pick with a couple names on that list. I love having these debates. I want to know. It always upsets me because I want to know who the fuck voted for this guy in this spot. But let's kind of go through this thing. Starting off at number one, I think that these will not necessarily be super controversial until we get a little farther down the list. Number one, Josh Allen. Maybe there could be a conversation about Pat Mahomes. That's who has been in this spot in most years, and now it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, obviously, we love him on the show. Absolute dog. Does he deserve to leap Pat Mahomes in the quarterback rankings in your mind? Or is it just there was a down year because Pat had no weapons and recency bias is saying that Josh Allen is better? Where are you at?
I think Josh, he's same age as Patrick Mahomes, but the injury stuff with Patrick last year kind of makes him feel like he's older. Also, the fact that he has just been the top guy for so long makes it feel like maybe there was a little bit of a downturn, but it's kind of inarguable. Those are 1 and 2 for me, nearly interchangeable, but because of the down year last year, injury and lack of weapons, that kind of drops Mahomes a little bit. It is like a what have you done for me lately type thing. We're going to get to Joe Burrow here before too long. I think Joe Burrow is one of the top guys in the league, but you do have to start to factor in the injury stuff. It is just a part of the person. It's a part of the player and whether or not they're good or not. So it makes sense. Now, what's interesting is, and let me check here real quick. This is voting according to league scouts, executives, and coaches. It shows the lowest ranking that Pat Mahomes, who is number 2, received was 9th best in the league, which to me is
who put him there?
Pretty surprising. Like someone is projecting that he is definitely on the downside of his career, which is pretty damn surprising. I think that you could probably leave Josh Allen and Mahomes as 1, 2, and I don't know that, definitely scrolling down this list, I don't know that there is a good guy that is competing with them. Last year was probably Lamar, but based off Lamar's last year, shouldn't be. It's just those 2 guys right now as your number 1, number 2. So whoever is ranking, him down all the way 9th, I think that's some huge projection that, he is on the back end of his career, which we know quarterbacks play quite a bit longer, especially the elite ones.
I absolutely agree. I don't understand how he got ranked 9th at one point. I am okay with Josh supplanting him. I think there's a chance that this could flip again, though. The Chiefs are going to be exceptional this year, I think, with the additions of a pretty solid running game. It's going to be hard to keep that team down with an offensive mind and a quarterback like that. So it's going to be really, really tough for Josh. Maybe goes out and wins a Super Bowl and just says, I'm the fucking best in the league. But those are easily 1 and 2 in my mind. And before we move on, Dean keeps hopping in here with a bunch of comments. I want to address a couple of them. This one sounds awesome. When we come to Omaha for the College World Series and do a show in my coffee shop. Yeah, I mean, I would be totally down. Now, we'll have to obviously do some logistics to figure this out, but I would love to check out the College World Series, especially if you're right down the road there in Omaha. And then, so this one, I don't want to watch Nebraska play football. If I'm being completely honest, I would watch Ohio State kick the shit out of Nebraska, which is what I believe would happen if we were to check out a game in Lincoln. But there is a possibility, slight, that Evo and myself will be in different parts of the country for different events and activities as it relates to football in the next coming year in this football season. Then that's literally the only details I can give you at this time.
Yep.
But it's good. It could be a good time.
It's
great. We're gonna listen. Yeah, we're gonna have some conversations. All right, but let's get back into these quarterback rankings. We got Josh Allen 1, Pat Mahomes 2, coming in at 3, Matthew Stafford. I feel good about this. Stafford's a dog. He's been in the league forever, and it's just a pro's pro. The only question you have to worry about is injuries. Like, is he going to continue to hold up? But if you look at the guys that are next in this list, you go Matthew Stafford at 3, Joe Burrow at 4, huge injury risk and history there as well. Lamar Jackson, 5, also a risk of injury. So at that point, you go, okay, which one of these guys do I really like more? Who does more? I think it's Matthew Stafford if we're talking about those 3 guys. Now, he might have some of the best weapons in the NFL. I think the guy below him, Joe Burrow, has better weapons. But, I mean, when you look at everything that is around Stafford, that is a better team than Joe Burrow's Cincinnati Bengals team, and it's a better team than Lamar's Ravens team. Does that inflate why he's ranked this high, or is it just longevity that he's been so good for so long? We just assume he's always going to be one of those top 3, top 5 guys.
I think you have to have some projection in here because I would think that the intent of this is these are our top 10 guys going into the year based off of what we expect them to be able to accomplish this year. Obviously, you wouldn't put a guy on here who just retired. Like, you're not going to have Peyton Manning in a top 10 list if he is retired. This is going into the year, so it's projection for how they're going to do this coming year, and you have to factor in the surrounding pieces around them. Part of that is the fact that Stafford is on a team that is balls to the wall right now to try to win this whole damn thing. And another big part of it is the fact that they did go, almost to the Super Bowl last year. They have a lot of good weapons. He's been perennially extremely good. So it makes a ton of sense. But I think you could interchange him with Burrow at 4 or possibly Lamar at 5, especially with Lamar if you're projecting a bounce back. Obviously some new system going in there. It was a weird down year for the Ravens last year. But Lamar is obviously one of the more physically talented quarterbacks in the league. So the expectation is that Lamar will probably move back towards what he was in previous years where he was neck and neck MVP with Josh Allen. So I think any of those 3 guys are kind of interchangeable depending on how you're projecting their team to look as of right now, because the Rams are in a position where they are just saying, fuck everything. We're shooting for the moon. That's kind of what pushes Stafford probably into that 3rd spot, because there is they've burnt the ships. They are there. They are going for the win. Burrow, obviously, fantastic offense around him, questionable line to an extent. And then the injury stuff always has to be factored in. If he was able to stay healthy and had a good offensive line, I think that he would probably be right there neck and neck again with Mahomes and Allen. And I already talked about Lamar. It's a weird down year for him. That offense just seemed to stagnate. They had injuries across the entire team. It was just a weird, wonky year. But the expectation would obviously be to jump back to what he was previously.
I agree. I agree. And listen, with that team set where they are, they're going to be really, really good. Burrow, they're getting better. Now, how do you feel about Burrow over Lamar? Different styles of quarterback. One has had much more individual success. One has taken his team farther in the postseason. How do we feel about Burrow, Lamar? I feel like you could probably flip these around, and it would be no question. But what I think is interesting is that Lamar was also completely unranked by one of these evaluators. Not in the top 10 at all, which I find interesting. Where are you at on 4 or 5?
I'm okay with them. I think that the higher ceiling as a overall player is Lamar Jackson because of what he can do. The entire offense does really, really, he's the catalyst for it because of his running capability. You're not going to get any of that with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, as far as pure quarterback stats that, obviously you can have wide receivers or running backs get rushing stats as well. You only have one guy that's really passing the ball at quarterback. So quarterback pure stats, Burrow has the highest ceiling there. But Lamar overall obviously can do more dynamic stuff to kind of lift his team. I'm okay with where they're at, but again, to me, it's kind of neck and neck. I could also see Lamar having not necessarily another down year, but a year where they're relearning what they're doing there in Baltimore because it is a new coaching crew in there. So that might take a year or so, or by the end of the year, they're actually going to be rolling. But I wouldn't say that, it's just a given that he's going to go back to kind of what he was. Unranked, I think, is silly. I was probably the same person that ranked Mahomes 9. It's a wild thing there, which, obviously we have some quarterbacks coming up here. One that I take serious offense with, but we have a bunch of quarterbacks coming up here that are like that. I don't know how you would place 10 other guys ahead of Lamar. He would have to be in that top 10 somewhere. So the unranked thing makes me think that at least one of these guys that was voting is on some heavy drugs.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when you smoke too many crimes, you can do some stupid things. Now, let's get into this next group. We got Dak Prescott at 6, highest rank of 3, lowest of unranked. Okay. Justin Herbert, 7, highest rank of 5, and unranked is the lowest. Drake Maye at 8, highest rank 5, lowest rank unranked. So we got a bunch of guys here that have put up good numbers, but maybe don't have a ton of success in the postseason. You got Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, but we got the new entry into the league, new on the list, Drake Maye. I don't love Dak above Justin Herbert. I would take Dak over Drake Maye because I'm not sure that Drake Maye is all the way there yet. Like, Dak's a pro's pro. Drake's still got a lot of learning left to do, even though he had a good year last year. But listen, I'm not super high on Dak. I think ranking Dak as high as the third best quarterback in the league is fucking absurd.
I don't know. We have a good crop of quarterbacks after Lamar Jackson. We have good quarterbacks, but none of them are like super elite. So there could be arguments made for a lot of these guys. Dak has been a extreme high volume guy, which kind of makes sense where he is putting up gaudy stats. That defense did him no favors last year. So it kind of makes sense, especially projection wise, why he could fit in there at 6. I get Drake Maye being a little bit lower, but he does kind of look like the future. And the expectation is that the leap is going to continue to happen. Obviously, he took a big one last year. And that Patriots team is only getting better as long as they don't have Rossini-itis and get fucked by that whole situation. And Herbert's a weird one because I like Justin Herbert a lot. I like the situation a lot with Harbaugh, but they are supposed to be a run-heavy team. We saw them pass a little bit more last year, but he still seems like that guy that isn't necessarily clutch. Like, we saw him clutch up in some regular season games last year, but and a huge product of that was that his offensive line completely died during the middle of the year. So if we're thinking that they get back to where they should be, then maybe we have a good situation. But I don't take a huge offense with any of these guys and where they're at.
Okay, so none of these guys are the ones that are bothersome. I'm fairly certain we're going to have a problem with the exact same fucking guy on this list.
Yeah, very possible.
Before we get there, though, for all of you soccer fans, Spain has defeated France. That will be the last time I probably talk about soccer because the World Cup, I think, will be over by our next show. So we'll talk about soccer again in 4 years. But let's get back to this quarterback list. So we got Dak, Justin Herbert at 7, Drake Maye at 8, Jared Goff at 9, highest ranked 5, lowest unranked. And number 10, the one that I can't fucking stand being on this list, Caleb Williams. Has no goddamn business being on the list of top 10 quarterbacks. I do not understand how Sam Darnold gets left off. I don't understand how Jaden Daniels gets left off. There are so many guys I would rather have than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is incredible at all the things that he should never have to do. And the reason that he should never have to do them is because that's not typically the way football is played. But he likes to put himself in situations where he can look spectacular or like an absolute fucking idiot. He is not a sound quarterback in this league, in my mind. There was another thing that sure.
There's still possibility, yes. But
he's got a great coach that should be able to get him there. But he's not there yet. There was another name that popped in here. And Dean, my man, I love you. Bo Nix did not get fucked here either. He should not be in the top 10 either. there are guys that you could maybe make arguments for, like Brock Purdy when he's healthy. Pretty damn good, right? I wouldn't make a case for Jordan Love. I would take Jalen Hurts over Caleb Williams just because of the proven pedigree, but I'm also not a Jalen Hurts guy. I don't know how Caleb Williams got here.
That's look. Caleb Williams is on the Madden cover. Things really turned around for that team last year. I've been banging the table about this Bears team. They're going to see a huge regression.
Yep.
The offense got a huge boost last year from having Ben Johnson. He's one of the best offensive minds out there. They do have a lot of talented offensive pieces out there. But if you look at Caleb Williams and his stats, the biggest difference between his first year and last year was that he took less sacks. His completion percentage is still below average. He put up, I think, like the 7th most yards passing in the league, which is good. He was right around the same spot for touchdowns and interceptions. That's good. But like you kind of brought up, he does some spectacular things. He gets himself in situations where he's making insane throws. That throw in the playoffs, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. However,
never should have been there. Never should have fucking been back there.
Sure. That's the thing is he is inconsistent still with hitting his targets when he should, reading defenses correctly. The potential there is so high. The ceiling is absolutely super high. But this is expecting a year 3 leap. That's the only way I could fathom him being on there or on this list at 10. But the problem is that you do have guys like Sam Darnold, the Super Bowl winning quarterback who has now 2 years in a row looked extremely good. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a 1-year wonder with the Vikings or something like that. And he won the Super Bowl, and that Seahawks team is awesome. You have Jaden Daniels, who it is a lot of projection. I don't think that Washington team is going to be too great this year, but like he was spectacular as a rookie. There's still things there that you would like. Fuck Jordan Love. And I would take Brock Purdy, as well. If Baker and the reports, I don't know if you saw the reports about Baker that came out today from the Netflix series, the quarterback series.
I have not seen it yet.
He was absolutely, and we've talked about this previous years on the show. When he's injured, things start to derail. He wasn't just like injured; he was completely fucked up.
The bruise thing that I saw.
I don't know about the picture, but he had a separated AC joint, a bone bruise, PCL sprain, MCL sprain, all sorts of shit. And the Netflix series does go through in detail all of the rehab and treatment and different things like that he's doing to try to get his body right. But Baker, especially if we were looking at last year, I think that he's fringe top 10 at that point based off of how he's playing. And then when he gets injured on this Bucs team last year, things look a lot worse. But like I have to just compare what's going on between the 10th pick, who's currently there, and the guys that are off this list, and would I take these other guys that are off the list over the 10th guy in Caleb Williams? Yeah, again, the ceiling is higher, and this isn't just me being a Vikings fan and hating on any other NFC North team, because Goff deserves to be there. He's unspectacular, but super consistent, and a high volume player because he's got really good offensive pieces. But I'm saying, like, I would take Brock Purdy right now over Caleb Williams because I get a consistent level of play. I would take Jaden Daniels because he could be absolutely spectacular. And in his first year,
he was way better than anything that we have seen from Caleb Williams in his rookie year. And then he was derailed by injuries.
And don't get me started on Sam Darnold, because obviously there's that conversation of should the Vikings have ever let him go?
Sounds like no.
You know, that's the thing. That Sam Darnold not being on this list and Caleb Williams being on there, that's what I take offense to. Because Sam Darnold absolutely deserves to be on there. Look, again, Caleb Williams, this time next year, if he lives up to the potential and does take a year 3 leap, yeah, it makes sense that he could be a top 10 quarterback in the league. I am not there with him yet. I'm maybe fringe top 15 with him. But he is playing on a very good offense who had a spectacularly odd amount of turnovers on defense, despite that defense being very mid. And he is still putting up just midline average to sometimes below average quarterback stats while having an offensive guru coaching things up there. Like, it sounds like he has not reached his full potential yet. Maybe he does, but now he's on the Madden cover. The curse is real. The Bears are probably fucked this year. Saying it now. Obviously, we'll get into a show later on where we start to project all these things out. But like, people need to pump the brakes a little bit on it. Like, congrats to the Bears last year. Congrats on the wins. But outside of him having some spectacular plays, he is playing average quarterback. That's not top 10 to me.
I agree. I would not put him anywhere. I guess I would put him around the 15 mark. League average. There's a comment in here. Where's Baker? Probably 13 to 15, right in that same range. Like, better than your bottom half of the league, but not elite. And here's this. I want to talk about Caleb Williams. I'm going to bring this up. The Madden curse, that's bad. The all of this is interesting, but I got to tell you, the one thing that I can't stand is he's got the gayest nickname I have ever heard. Iceman? What in the hell?
Which, obviously filed the trademark, did not get it.
What?
That'll forever be Val Kilmer.
Douche. Like, why are we doing this? Like, this is the same kind of stupid shit that he was trying to do with the contract negotiations before he was ever even drafted. He drives me crazy. The nickname is stupid. And now he's going to end up probably having a really bad year because of Madden. Or that's what his fans will blame it on. Couldn't be because he isn't that great.
Look, nicknames can be cool. They can be really stupid.
When you give yourself the nickname, it is 100% the stupidest and probably gayest nickname you could give yourself.
Yeah, that no one calls their buddy Iceman.
What's up, Iceman? Are you trying to suck my dick right now? What are you doing?
Unless he is known, and this is a possibility, unless he is known for just hammering, smearing off ices. Like, that's the only way that someone else is calling him Iceman. And that brings it back to your previous comment. Yay.
Yeah.
Like, so that's, look, huge faux pas as just a human, a person. It's a very narcissistic. Don't give yourself a nickname, because it is more obvious than anything that is a self-given
You
nickname.
gave that to you.
Yeah. Like, that would be like me calling myself like Daddy McLongcocks. Not the case at all. Like, the self-given nickname that I have, Thunder Thimble, and it's funny, but it's also true, and no one's gonna fight me on it.
That's true. I will fight Caleb Williams to defend Val Kilmer's honor, because there's only one ice. There's only one ice. There will only ever be one ice, man. What's the line from Step Brothers where they're like in the bedroom with the bunk beds, and he's like, "You're gonna call me Nighthawk," or something like that. I want you to call me Dragon. You're gonna call me Nighthawk.
That's exactly what Iceman sounds like.
That's a very good comparison. I appreciate that. All right, so now that we have completely trashed Caleb Williams, let's talk about a different position group.
I feel like I walked, like I'm giving him his credit where it's due, and the possibility that the door is open. I just think that it's extremely premature to put him at 10 on here. I think that's aggressive.
Yeah, so. I don't disagree. But let's change subjects. Let's change position groups to wrap this thing up. We're going to talk edge, the guy that affects the quarterback, the group that we just talked about. Number one, to no one's surprise, is Myles Garrett. His highest rank was number 1. His lowest rank was number 1. Last year's rank was number 1. Myles Garrett has been the best pass rusher in the league for a fucking while. And I don't think anybody's coming to take that until he literally just starts to decline at the end of his career. He's a genetic freak. And if anybody else were here, they would be wrong. In my mind. Anything there?
Homer, fine.
Yeah, okay.
But it's true. I mean, he is the best in the league. There's a reason why he just got a king's ransom in a trade. There's no argument here. This is kind of akin to Mahomes or Allen in the quarterback conversation. It's just kind of known he is the best. Previous years, it was him and TJ Watt kind of vying back and forth, but he always was kind of that step ahead. Unless Yin's from Pittsburgh, then you think differently. But that's not the case. It is Myles Garrett. No, there's really no argument here.
Yeah, there is not an argument. I will answer this question real quick for you, Dean. None of them. Very easy to answer that. None of our quarterbacks are top 25 right now. But let's move on to number 2. Stop talking about. We'll change the subject off of Myles Garrett, who I love. Number 2, Micah Parsons, highest rank number 2, lowest rank number 5. This is interesting. This is a lot of projection, I feel like, as well, because the injury, the new system. What is he really going to look like with a full healthy year with the Packers? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I hope it's a spectacular Micah Parsons for Micah Parsons. I know that you don't want to see a good Micah Parsons and the Packers be good, but I would like to see him come back from the injury and really excel. But put him here after the injury with some of these other guys on the list feels like it might be a little bit of a reach. I'd rather see him at like a 3-4 until I can see him be healthy. Because even his last, year with the Cowboys, it was not the Micah Parsons that I think everybody is thinking about when they're ranking him at 2. Where are you at?
Yeah, that's it. It has to be projection here because they've already basically said that he's probably not playing for like the first half of the year. I mean, I believe he came out and said he's probably not coming out for half the year with that injury. And when he was with the Packers last year, obviously he's still a game wrecker. He's someone that you absolutely have to pay attention to, but the sack production wasn't there. The pressures were, but he was the one that was gaining all the other attention that was trying to help out that defense. I don't know how he's going to fit into Jonathan Gannon's defense that well. Oddly enough, Jonathan Gannon, like defensive guy, but I think that his last time that he was really good on the defensive side of the ball was with Philadelphia, and they were chalked to the fucking teeth with heavy hitters on that Super Bowl team before he ended up going to Arizona. I'm not a Jonathan Gannon guy at all. I don't know that he is good at football or coaching it. So we haven't seen that. We've seen very good players on a team play well. So I don't know that he's going to fit in with, or that Parsons is going to fit in with Gannon's scheme, because I don't know that he can necessarily scheme well, because that Packers defense is not filled with elite talent. Micah Parsons is the guy for sure. They've got good pieces around, but it's going to be more of, can people take advantage of all the attention that's going to be on Micah Parsons? And because like you can triple team a Myles Garrett and he's still probably getting home. Like he is that good. Micah Parsons is elite, but not at that level. You double team, triple team him, he is probably not getting home on most cases. It's the other guys, can they take advantage of that? And that's why we saw that kind of statistical drop from Micah Parsons last year. That being said, it is to have him at 2, like you put Micah Parsons without an injury on a lot of different teams, someone that a team that has a good complementary other edge rusher, it makes sense for him to be at 2. I just don't necessarily see it on this Packers team with the injury. I've heard stuff as far as like that knee injury was so bad that, yeah, he's not going to play half a year, or they might bench him until closer to playoff time if it looks like they're going to go, because he's such a huge investment for this team that it's like shelve him until next year because we need him to get healthy. If he comes back halfway through the year, I don't know that we're going to see the same Micah Parsons. That's the scary thing for me. As much as I don't like the Green Bay Packers, I do like elite talent and like want these players to be successful and show us something. I don't know that he's going to be there. So it's a tough one for me to have him at 2, But then I look at the rest of the list and I see a lot of really great guys, but I do have to say it is making a little bit more sense to me when I factor out the injury. I factor out the situation. Myles Garrett is the easy number one. And then out of all the other edge rushers in the league, Micah Parsons, a healthy Micah Parsons, is probably number two. And then you have the rest of the list where it's a lot of guys that are in the same wheelhouse for me that I'm not going to have too many arguments on. I've got one guy that I'll bang the table for.
And I know who it is.
And I always have loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And I look, as much as I wish I was, I am not the sports writer that had him ranked as high as number two, but I appreciate whoever did that because I think he's fantastic. But we'll get to him here in a little bit.
Yeah,
who we got next on this list?
So we got Will Anderson next. Highest rank of number two. Could have been in that spot of Micah Parsons. Lowest rank at 8. I think that the low rank is probably because he's still young in this league. He's incredible, though, dude. This guy's got fucking juice to go 10, 12 years and be a dominant force. Like, he has a pass rush bag, like, just crazy. And he's playing in a defensive style that is going to allow him to just pin his ears back and attack. So I love Will Anderson. I could see Will Anderson at number 2. 3, I don't have any kind of problem with. Maxx Crosby's that guy that I would maybe consider bumping up and flipping with Micah Parsons, because when Maxx Crosby's healthy, Maxx Crosby's basically unblockable as well. He's incredible. Guys, he's getting double teamed like crazy. So that's maybe one where I would flip, but I love Will Anderson. I think him being at 2 would not be a problem, which was his highest rank. 3 is a great spot for him and could continue to ascend in that role. He might be the young guy that takes over that number 1 spot when Myles relinquishes it.
That's where we at here. I lost my list for a second. Yeah, Will Anderson, absolutely fantastic. I love him. What's interesting is, and again, we're gonna get this guy that I keep on talking about. He's a very different type of edge rusher than the other guy on this list from Houston. He's definitely that off-ball linebacker edge rusher. Makes me think of Derek Thomas from the Chiefs, who is a obviously Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. That's the type of Will Anderson that I think that we see from him there. Getting back to Maxx Crosby at 4, he doesn't seem 28 to me. The knee injury, the degeneration, that does scare me a little bit. The fact that the trade didn't happen, but we know Maxx Crosby can be all the way up to number 2 on this list because of how good he is when he is healthy. That's why I said, like, a lot of these guys are kind of all just, I can make pros and cons arguments for all of them. And Aiden Hutchinson, same thing. Like, I don't know that he was ever the same after that knee injury, but he's a year removed from it now. Obviously, it was pretty gruesome. Or was it ankle?
It was the knee.
His ankle.
Right? I believe it was. I thought it was an ACL.
I can't remember. Either way, I thought that he like snapped his ankle. Either way, Aiden Hutchinson matters so much to that team, and he is one of those guys that you can double, triple team him, and he will probably get home. I don't know why I keep on going back to that sort of reference, but I guess that's kind of like the litmus test of what Myles Garrett is that he's kind of unblockable. Aiden Hutchinson can be that for that team, and he makes the whole defense. So if he returns back to his previous form, obviously last year coming off the injury, then he could be up to number 2 on this list as well. That's like all these guys are in the same wheelhouse for me.
Yeah, so it was a tibia-fibia break, I believe, low, so around the ankle area. But yeah, so continuing with Aiden Hutchinson, can be as high as 2. We saw him be incredible. Same thing with Maxx. Will Anderson, I feel like, is that guy that's kind of ascending, but I got no problem with Aiden Hutchinson being on this list, being as high as he is on this list, because when he is good and when he was healthy, he was spectacular. We'll see how he comes this year. Now let's get to the guy I know that you're ready to talk about, in Danielle Hunter, because that's the guy that you have loved forever. Former Viking. You didn't want to get rid of him, but it was going to become too expensive to keep him. He still, in my mind, is on one of the best edge rusher contracts in the entire NFL. And he has done that basically his whole career. He's always been the guy that's had less money, but just as high as production, is damn near everybody else. Everybody talked about TJ Watt like he's like this unreal goddamn player. Like, you can't believe what he's doing. Danielle Hunter, I feel like, is very similar in that same vein. They can play a similar, wider technique down defensive lineman. Now, TJ will stand up, obviously, but we're going to talk about guys that really affect the quarterback and do a crazy amount of things, I like Danielle Hunter more than TJ Watt. I have liked him more than TJ Watt. Obviously, TJ had those couple years where he was insane, defensive player of the year. But Danielle is a spectacular player. He is often the number 2 guy in statistical categories behind Myles Garrett, and nobody fucking talks about it.
Yeah, the one thing that Danielle Hunter does not do well, in my opinion, is have good representation, because like you brought up, he is criminally underpaid for what he's been producing for basically his entire career. 4th round pick out of LSU, and just kind of has always been hyper productive. The guy has to be like 3% body fat, built crazy muscle. But like you brought up, he was neck and neck with Myles Garrett for years as far as his sack productions. Straight off of ESPN, he has 43.5 sacks over the last three years. Had a little bit of a downturn because of a neck injury that he was working through, but he had 54 sacks over the previous 4 campaigns, which was second behind Myles Garrett. Now, Garrett had 67 over that campaign, but Garrett and Danielle were always kind of neck and neck for the sack lead. He's one of the less talked about guys, and I think it's because he is quiet. He's just extremely productive. Garrett isn't necessarily like a boisterous dude necessarily, but he's way more in the limelight than Danielle Hunter ever is. Danielle Hunter is like a lunch pail out there, do your job, get your sack, back to the huddle. That's pretty much it with him. One of the better power rushers in the game, has a nasty spin move, a guy that you aren't going to see crazy bend with. He is just so physically talented that he's going to overpower the guys. Very smart player too, but that's the thing is like Houston is so lucky to have its edge rushers how they are, because they are 2 different types of edge rushers completely. Danielle is that hand in the dirt, true kind of 4-3 edge rusher, whereas Will Anderson is that kind of stand-up 3-4, linebacker type. And so you have 2 guys that are extremely difficult to defend. That's if we were talking about pure defensive end, it is Danielle Hunter and Myles Garrett for me.
Yeah.
If we're talking about edge rusher, where you start to factor in some of the stand-up game and other things, again, Myles Garrett is kind of undeniable with how good he is, but that's where Danielle isn't at that second spot for me, and why Will Anderson or one of those guys would be up a little bit higher.
And one thing that I like about Danielle is he's fairly good against the run as well. He's going to get you good sack numbers, get you good pressures, but he can also play the run. Moving on to number 7 now, TJ Watt, guy that we've obviously talked about a little bit here. Highest ranked 3. I think that's too high at this point in TJ's career. Lowest unranked. As a Browns fan, I think that's too low. I think he's still a top 10 pass rusher in this league, especially when you consider some of these other names on the list that we're going to fucking get to, because a couple of these I do not understand, and one guy criminally low on this list, in my opinion. So TJ, back part of his career, makes a lot of sense, had a ton of production. He has, won Defensive Player of the Year. He has won sack titles. He has shown that he is a spectacular player, going to be a Hall of Famer, and deserves it. Like, he has been fantastic. But he's not the 3rd-ranked pass rusher in the league anymore. Age is starting to catch up with him. Injuries are starting to catch up with him. I don't have a problem with this. I assume that Steelers fans lost their fucking minds when they saw this, that he had fallen all the way down this far while Myles Garrett stayed 1. But I'm sure they don't care as much now that Myles Garrett plays for the Rams and not the Browns. But TJ, unranked. Do you think he deserved an unranked vote?
No, but again, someone's on drugs doing a lot of these votings. He is still a top 10 guy. Unranked doesn't make sense to me unless you expect him, which, again, some of the injuries and stuff like that has made him fall off some. But yeah, he's still the lifeblood of that Steelers defense. He is still very productive. He's still absolutely one of the best in the league. So where he sits around 7 does make sense to me. Yeah, we can always make arguments that he could be a little bit higher, but I don't have a problem with where he's at.
All right. Now, I do have a problem with our next guy being on this list. I also have a problem with him being ranked as high as he could potentially have been ranked. Nick Bosa, highest rank, 3rd. That guy is smoking crimes. There's no way that you think Nick Bosa is the 3rd best pass rusher in the league with some of the names that we said before that. Unranked, I could see around 11, 12 in that range. I would have no problem if he were 10. I just don't understand how someone could be like, yeah, he's the 3rd best pass rusher in the league. It makes no sense to me. Now, maybe Joe Rockstar, if he's in here, could give us a little bit more insight on why somebody would have him ranked that high. But we've talked about injuries as knocks on a bunch of these guys. And Nick Bosa probably has the longest injury history of any of these guys that we've talked about. So I don't quite get the person that ranked him 3rd. 8's okay. I would have had him. I'd have had him lower. 10 at probably the highest. Where are you at?
Yeah, that's look. The rest of the guys on this list for me, even the honorable mentions that they have on here, like a lot of them are kind of interchangeable to me at this point because we're talking about guys who all have these big question marks, injury histories, age, or a lot of projection. There's guys off of this list that I would rather see on the list over the next couple dudes that are here, potentially at least because of the projection of what they can be. One of those guys that is off the list that I wouldn't be opposed to seeing on there is Jared Verse, guy that your team has right now. Like, I think Verse can be a top 10 guy in this league. I think that he could be better than Bosa. And a big part of that is that Bosa is never on the field. It is the injury concern. Bosa is very good when he's on the field. As high as 3, that's very rich. We're talking like 5 years ago, maybe.
I mean, you got Myles Garrett locked in at 1. That means you get one other guy to pick out of Maxx Crosby, Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson. I mean, who else was
Micah.
in there? Micah, that you get to put in front of Bosa. And then you're going to tell me that those names that I just said are worse than Bosa? You're off your fucking rocker. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of favoritism, personally.
That was probably Lynch saying, "Oh yeah, he's the 3rd best." Why he's still here, baby. Now, Brian Burns. I was surprised to see his name a little bit, but you know what? Finally, starting to kind of get things going, starting to put things together. I like the guy below him more. I like a Nick Bonito more than I like a Brian Burns. I think Nick Bonito could go up to 8. He could replace Joey Bosa there. Like, that's a guy that I feel like should be moved up this list and is fighting for the bottom spot.
Yeah,
I really like Bonito, but I don't know that everybody sees, I guess, what I see. I love the explosiveness.
I like Bonito a lot. I think that, 2 different players from him and Jared Verse, but if we're talking pure projection on younger guys, it would be Verse and Bonito that I would want raised up on this list versus being as far down low. Now, the knock on Bonito is that he is on a elite defense all around. Is he going to be as good as or have as much production as he has if he's on a worse team? You put him on the Green Bay Packers instead of Micah Parsons, and I think we're looking at the same sort of situation, except for Nick Bonito isn't Micah Parsons, so Parsons still has a better shot of being better on that defense. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me where Bonito could go somewhere else and be elite, because all I've ever seen from him is being on that super, super good Broncos defense. That's not to knock him. It's just like we won't know unless he's on a team that's not good. And as of right now, he is on a team that's very good, and he is very good at what he does. And I like him better than, like Brian Burns, than Bosa, because he is younger. He's got a higher upside projection to him. We haven't had to have those serious injury concerns with him.
All right. Well, my man, unless you want to talk about any of those honorable mentions, we've covered the edge rushers. And with that, I believe that we've kind of covered everything. I'll make sure that, we got one more thing real quick. LeBron, just come home, big dog. Don't fucking go to Golden State. This is how we're going to wrap this up. We're going to talk about LeBron. As a Cavs fan, I want to see LeBron come back and do a farewell tour because I'm selfish. Because I'd like to see LeBron play in person before he goes. I would love to see him in Cleveland in the Cavs jersey. If he goes anywhere else besides the Cavs, I'm not going to be angry unless it's the Golden State Warriors. That rivalry that was developed between Cleveland and Golden State, going for that fucking title and finally overcoming the long broken history of Cleveland sports and getting that win was huge. To throw that rivalry away, to kind of, I feel like it diminishes what those battles were if he goes to Golden State, joins with Steph, and does that whole thing. Like, just come home. Fucking bring Bronny to, I do not care. Just come home, give us a farewell tour, and then ride off into the sunset. And the Cavs are very good. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. You will have a chance to compete for a title by coming back to Cleveland.
You do think that him coming there makes a difference in that team competing for a title? I mean, honestly, it's going to make some sort of a difference, but you think that the Cavs are in a position right now where they can truly vie for a title?
It's going to be tough to beat the Knicks. The Knicks are incredible, especially in the East, man. Like, that's the team that we've been running into, and they've been kicking our ass. You got to find a way to get over the hump of the Knicks. If there's a guy that can maybe go and rally a team and drag them farther than they're supposed to, I mean, LeBron James is that dude. He's been that dude his whole career. So do I think they could? Yes. Do I think that they will need to make an in-season trade for some young legs to play some goddamn defense? Yes, I do. Because LeBron ain't playing a bunch of top-tier defense. Neither is James Harden, who was re-signed. So it would be tough to play defense in Cleveland. We would have to ask those bigs to do a lot.
I think that you guys are a playoff team. I don't know that with or without Bron that you're an odds-on favorite to vie for a title. I think that for him, it would be a cool story to go back to Cleveland, but I think what he's really worried about is being able to go somewhere and actually fight for a one last shot.
Well, he's not gonna
something
do that
to cement his legacy. I don't think that he's going to go to Golden State either. I think that it's Miami or Minnesota. I mean, Cleveland absolutely. The Cavaliers are absolutely on the table because that is the good story of the homecoming and everything. But this is the way that I think that the Wolves are framing it. It's the argument of Michael Jordan versus Bron, who's the best of all time. Michael Jordan did it on stacked teams, but he was just with the Bulls the whole time. LeBron has gone around to different places and brought those teams up with him. Minnesota has never won a championship in basketball, but they do have a couple really good young stars. They've been on this upward projection for a while where they keep getting deep into the West, but they never make it. If he's able to go and give Minnesota his first championship, I think that possibly cements his conversation as far as being better than Michael Jordan. He's done it in multiple different locations. He has brought up guys around him. I think that's the pitch that Minnesota has to him right now. He fits in with needs of that team. Otherwise, from his perspective, he is just hunting for that championship. And I think his best other option might be with Miami. It has to be a little bit more of a sell to go to Minnesota. But I think when you start to say hey, they've never won a championship, this is how you cement yourself against Jordan. rather than going to just a pure super team type situation. But I don't know. We'll see.
Do you do me a favor real quick, Big Dog? Go ahead and hit that fucking bell that's sitting right next to you. That Homer bell, why the Timberwolves should be the team that LeBron picks to go to.
That's the pitch that I've heard that they've actually been trying to give to him, is like, this is why you would want to come here. They understand, because they don't have the money to like offer him that.
He's going to take a mid-level exam. He's going to take a lower contract anyways.
That it is a pure pitch job to him, allegedly. So again, I'm not basketball fluent enough to know if it's a really good pitch or not, but that apparently has been what they pitched to him.
Come home, LeBron. Just come home.
Which I don't know that that's a homer fine for me. I'm just saying that's the pitch that they're giving him.
I'm sure that you were not like all in on that. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
Even if he goes to the Wolves, I think that they are roughly in the same spot that your Cavs are, as far as.
And the West ain't easy either. You got to get through OKC and San Antonio. Those are two really tough teams.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that both of our teams are in the kind of a similar spot as far as roster construction and things like that, and difficulty going forward. It's just, does he want to go home, or does he want to go try to bring a team a championship that's never gotten one type thing? Both are cool storylines, or he could just completely pivot from those and just go, give me the absolute best situation to win a championship. That's what I want.
Understood. I want him to come home and win a championship with the Cavs and go out riding high. Obviously, Homer, go ahead and hit the bell.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, here we go. Guys, we're going to wrap this thing up. To everybody who tuned in today, thank you very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some to us, we are forever grateful. I'm going to give Evo one last word, and then we're going to bounce the fuck out of here. We'll be back next week at our regularly scheduled times. Very soon, we'll be moving back to our 2-day-a-week shows, and it's going to be a good time. But without further ado, Evo, take it away.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that we've said before. We'll go ahead and say it again. To all our brothers and sisters, family, friends, soldiers, Marines, airmen, everyone who's overseas right now fighting. It doesn't matter what side you are on politically. Let's continue to give them our support. Big thing in our community happened today with the unmanned community that isn't even out on the news yet. We are supporting you guys regardless of your thoughts on whether or not we should be into these conflicts and these wars. Hopefully you get home safe. Hopefully everyone is safe. And you do have our support. It's not a Vietnam situation. We are behind you 100%.
100%. And this is much like our conversation about the U.S. men's national team. Whether you like Trump, you like Biden, none of that shit should matter. You should be rooting for the Americans to do their job so they can come home. Evo, thank you, brother. And to everybody who tuned in, thank you very much. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This was Raw Dog Sports. See you.